Hiring software engineers can be really hard, especially at a startup where any wrong hire could cost you all of your funding and the one chance that you had. Today on the Startup Hustle podcast, we're talking to Krishna with Git Hired, who has a new idea about how to screen and hire developers to find the right ones that are perfect for your startup. We're talking about founding engineers, hiring developers, and the struggles today on this episode that you don't want to miss on the Startup Hustle podcast. And we're back for another episode of Startup Hustle. This is your host, Matt Watson. Very excited to be joined today by Krishna Oza, who's the founder and COO of Git Hired. Today, we're going to talk about hiring software engineers. And Krishna decided to start a company to make it easier or maybe at least different to hire software engineers. Krishna, welcome to the show, man.
Thank you so much, Matt, for inviting. It's a pleasure to be here. We'll be having a good conversation, how it goes, and we'd love to give insights of what we've been dealt with. So,
So What what gave you the idea to start Get Hired? And give us the quick elevator pitch of what Get Hired is and kind of what led you down this path. I'm gonna guess you were frustrated with hiring software engineers.
yeah, no, sure. So it delves back with 3 years of problem when I was an engineer and I wanted to get a job or an internship, right? I've tried dozens of hacks. I've done resume tailoring. I've watched YouTube. I've done whatnot, right? And also as a previous founder, I wanted to get a guy for my startup as well. Couldn't find the perfect fit, the perfect tech stack guy, the perfect persona. So been kind of in this place where I've personally dealt with such problems. It gave us an idea of building an AI hiring platform that helps startups to find technical hiring based on proof of work, right? Startups especially need someone who matches their velocity, who knows how to ship fast, and accurately as well, because they're moving fast. They are a pretty early stage company. They need to figure out as well. And there are a lot of moments where these companies or these startups pivot, right? And you have to keep up with the pace. That's where we came up with the idea of Git Hired back in a hackathon. Actually, it was the biggest hackathon hosted by UC Berkeley. uh, we were able to win that. And then after that, we went to San Francisco talking to a few YC founders, and they've been dealing with the same thing. So the personal problem went more so over a generic problem with founders, especially. They're not able to spend so much money with applicant tracking systems or paying hiring agencies a big sum of monies. That's where GitHub was born. And yeah, that's pretty much the background. So.
Well, so I mean, full scale, we help people grow and scale their engineering team, right? So I definitely understand startups and companies of all size and shape. They're looking to hire people. And at the end of the day, they want to hire people that they can trust. They've got to hire people that can come in, hit the ground running, get stuff accomplished, especially if they're an early stage company, right? Like every hire matters a lot. Like getting any hire wrong can completely kill your company, especially if you're, spending a lot of money on staffing agencies, as you mentioned, like paying big fees for that. You're hiring somebody, maybe paying them 200 grand a year, or like, you hire somebody for 6 months, you pay them 100 grand. If you don't get a lot out of them, you might be toast. Like whatever funding you had is gone. Right. So, hiring people is super critical, but I think there's a couple things I want to talk to you about. So we talked about hiring an early stage developer. What do you think needs to be different in the personality and experience for an early stage developer versus somebody who's, going to work at some big corporate company, maybe doing some maintenance? It's not a green field, it's not a startup. What do you think needs to be different?
Definitely. So I think one of the most important characteristic that comes out with early stage developers or founding engineers uh, who work at a startup is that they are builders. Now, let me elaborate what I mean specifically by builders, right? They have been people who have been building projects. They know the fundamentals of how do I build something from 0 to 1, right? They know something that not most of the developers might know, because they are someone who explores a lot of stuff. They explore other tools, they explore uh coding languages, other ways, other approaches. And these are someone who have been shipping a lot of stuff. When I mean shipping, I mean kind of posting it on online, or just making projects that people might use. These are the exact kind of people that startups want, and differentiating them with like someone who works at a corporate, it's like land and sky, right? Corporate people are fantastic or what they're doing, but that's something that goes on a large scale aspect. Here we're talking about someone who is going to talk to users, is going to talk to 10,000 users, is personally going to talk to 100K users and understand and build over it, right? That's the main difference that comes out. So, in my opinion, startups need such kind of guys, except like, it doesn't matter if they're from like Stanford or like big college names, doesn't matter if they have great education, it doesn't matter if they have, you know, interned or worked at a big tech firm. It's all cool. But if you have been building projects, if you know shipping, I think that's the guy. So, yeah.
Well, don't big corporations need these same people?
Oh, could you repeat that?
Don't big corporations need these same people that can come in and build and innovate?
No, definitely big corporations also need these kind of peoples. But if you just analyze the pattern, it's mostly based out of, hey, if this guy has worked as a product manager at Google, he's definitely a good fit for Apple, right? Because that's where the hierarchical name comes in, the tag comes in, that I've worked here before, I've worked here there. But I've personally dealt with people, I've personally dealt with founders who have accepted as founding engineers, they're paying them around half of their funding to the guy who is actually a high school dropout, because he knows, he has talked to users, he has built products in the similar
Yeah.
experience in the relevant projects. Most of the time, a corporate is a legacy, right? They start off good, they're doing an SDE1 or something like that. They move on to manager level, they move up to a product manager or like a vice president at the end. You know, that's a long journey. There's lot more dealing in a corporate or in a business aspect, but nothing when it comes to one-on-one user building. So that's where the difference comes in, actually.
Well, another way to say what we're talking about here is what I refer to as product thinking, and especially in the day of AI, where AI is writing most of the code anyways, the real job is the product thinking. It's understanding what the user needs, what are the outcomes that we're trying to accomplish. It's more about engineering the software and the user experience than it is engineering the code. I mean, let's be honest, AI can probably engineer the code better than most of us most of the time.
True.
The really hard part that AI can't really do is understand what needs to be built and why it needs to be built. And for
Exactly.
sure, there are software engineers that are really good at building prototypes, like engineers that you can give them an idea and they have the creativity to run with that idea. Like they can go research competitors, they can, use their past experience to go from like 0 to 1. And AI is really, really good at helping us as well, be it people using tools like Lovable or Cursor or Claude
Right.
Code, any of these things. At our venture studio at Full Scale, we're building a couple SaaS products ourselves, and like we use Lovable to rapidly prototype them. We're using Lovable to really prototype them before even handing it off to engineering. Like we don't even want engineering to touch it. We want to have the product people that are very very focused on the product side doing that rapid iteration, talking to customers, getting feedback before we get into some overly complicated engineering process. And let's be honest, where engineers start like over engineering things. And it's a little different breed. But my question to you is like going forward, don't you think all software engineers are going to need this product thinking?
Sure. Everyone would need product thinking, definitely. I mean, if you even analyze a trend, like there's so many of entrepreneurship and startups that are coming in that, me myself, and if I get the permission to speak behalf of the audience as well, like I'm sure everyone has an idea in the night or in the shower, maybe sometime in the day, that they want to build, right? It's the people who have the idea and want to build are actually the 10x engineers that startups need,
They
right?
are.
there is a total mindset shift. Like if I talk about my family as well, my sibling, she works at a big tech firm, right? Most of my friends are seeking a job at a big tech firms. The network I've been talking to, they are working at a big tech firm. There is a huge difference between mindset, right? The hungriness that you can see in a guy who has an idea and is opening up his laptop, just coding or prompting or even using AI. That's also cool. Is way in a different league than someone who is thinking about settling in, is thinking about promotions from the big tech firm, or trying to impress the supervisor, right? So that's where the difference come in, right? And that's also what startups need. They need someone who's hungry, ambitious, risky, wants to drop out everything to build something that people want, kind of copying the YC principle here. But yeah, exactly that.
Well, people have always argued that 10x engineers don't exist, and I've always said that they do because I was one of them. And the reason that I say that they exist is, and AI is proving this, and you just nailed it. Like, the people that are 10x engineers have a couple things different than the average engineer. One of them, they have the product vision. They understand what needs to be built. There's nobody, they're not waiting around for somebody to tell them what to do. They understand what needs to be built. They have the vision for it, and they can just go build it. Secondly, there's no organizational friction. The company that they work for is not handcuffing them and putting hurdles in front of them every single day to slow them down, right? And ultimately, these are the two things that are really the difference, because you go to this big corporation, the big corporation, everything is by committee, everything is slow. No, nobody can make a decision by their own. Most software engineers honestly become order takers. Like, they're not even allowed to have this product vision, and everybody has to agree to do everything. It's the opposite of where innovation thrives, right? Like, innovation thrives when you take really smart people that have an idea and you get out of their way and you just let them run, right?
Yes.
These
Yes.
10x engineers exist, and they primarily exist only in startups because the organizational friction is not there. That's the
That's
difference.
that's definitely true. And also, kind of adding on to that point, there are hidden gems out there that
There are.
we are not able to find, right? They're not surfacing up because they're busy building something at 3 a.m. in the morning. We're not able to get them. That's exactly why we built out Git Hired, right? We surface these kind of engineers. We surface people. People who know how to ship, and we kind of have startups actually find them without doing these hassles of, I don't know, like other hiring agencies or ADSs and stuff. I personally know, I have talked to few. Some of my friends are genuine cracked engineers or 10x engineers, as they say, and I haven't seen them online and on social media or surfacing somewhere, uh, that they can reach out to. So that's exactly the problem that we're solving.
So how do you do that exactly? So, I look at your website, you talk about like proof of work and stuff. Like, how do you guys actually help people do that?
Perfect. Like, Matt, before that, I would love if you could answer this question. If I give you a resume right now, would you able to tell, if I give you my resume, right, and you don't know me, would you be able to tell if I actually know something?
No, not at
Perfect.
all.
Exactly the issue, right? If I give a founder a resume, he doesn't know if this guy is the founding engineer, is the one who's going to take us from 0 to 1, or is going to help us to scale. We make a one-page portfolio of each applicant who has applied based on what he has done in his entire coding life, right? We take out his tech stack, we take out his primary skills, we take out how many projects he has built, how complex they are, how relevant it is to a startup. I don't know, example, a YC startup, right? This gives the relevance. This gives the ability of a developer to ship, the ability of a developer to handle complex things. That's the exact thing that startups need. And we do this by analyzing their entire GitHub, right? One of our things that we also analyze private repos with no security issues, but we also analyze private repos. in short, summarizing the entire coding journey from hello world or hello print to as complex as a SaaS firm, right? We've analyzed everything and we curate insights for founders so that they make hiring decisions 10x faster and also save all the manual time that goes on to screening tailored resumes. I can use GPT and I can make the best candidate for Google's job using Chat GPT or other LLM models, right? But that's actually not the truth. That's not who I am. Everything depends on code, everything depends on what I've built, and that's exactly what we do.
Well, so we talked earlier about how important this sort of product thinking is, like the ability to figure out an industry, figure out what product to build, go to 0 to 1. How do you see that just from code commits though on GitHub?
So it's also not only about code commits. We also see the complexity went behind that. Sure, they might have used AI tools. Totally fine. In fact, startups need someone who is acquainted with AI tools to make it faster. The complex work doesn't come with just an idea. There are a lot of steps that come in from going from step zero to step one, right? The approach to code, the approach to kind of build this specific function or a specific feature, the end goal or the output goal or the input, everything comes under the complexity that we also analyze, right? So consider a one single repository or one single project, right? We see their tech stack, how complex things that they have done, exactly where we get the persona aspect of a hungry and ambitious person. Thirdly, we also check where his skills have gone into. So where each code is focused on, maybe on the front end or at the back end, or as a AI or a ML full stack engineer, or maybe DevOps, or all of these other industries or the sub industries of software development. That's where we focus on, right? And how this entire user workflow would look like is that people and founders, startups, or any mid-sized companies as well still use forms or Google Forms or job forms to get applicants, right? Get applications. What we do is we have made an in-house job application form that, first of all, looks way better than Google Form and Typeform. But that's not the point. But how we work is those founders or mid-sized companies do marketing for these, right? People who apply get analyzed and get ranked on the basis of what they have done before. So as I mentioned, the complexity, tech stack, and whatnot, they get ranked. So imagine you have 5,000 applications. You get the top 20 people who have actually built something that's relevant to your company, who have done complex projects in their life, and knows the exact tech stack that the company uses or the exact technology that the company uses. This is what we look into.
Well, but so the thing I'm struggling with here, help me understand. So if I'm applying to one of these jobs, you want me to somehow analyze my GitHub history?
Yeah. So we analyze your entire GitHub.
I don't have access to any of the repos of any company I worked at before.
No. So exactly the aspect that we never analyze organizational um, GitHub because we cannot, we don't have the access to. But that's where we are surfacing the builders who might not have that much experience, but have surely built out something that's relevant to a startup. And that's actually complex enough for them to be part of the startup as well. So the senior developer or the mid or the big corporate companies, we can never go into that aspect. We'll always be so focused on startups because most of the applications or most of the founding engineers that we have analyzed, uh, don't have a lot of stuff in their public and the private repos, except the organizational repos. So, Matt, you would not be the guy who would come or surface up, right? Your background on your LinkedIn, because we also extract a lot of your work experience. That would definitely give you out an entire score, or will push your application up. But yeah, we do not look into organizational code. So
Well, but then how does this work looking at their source code if they likely don't have access to any of it from their previous jobs?
exactly. So these people are as if you circle back to our initial conversation, these people are someone who have an idea and are building straight up, right? I have personally seen around 1,000 developers, each GitHub account, that even if they're working at somewhere like Google or Amazon, their repositories are filled with projects, are filled with experiments, are filled with ideas that they are working on, right? So that's where these guys get surfaced up. And
So it's more of their side projects that they were working on.
sure, yes,
Okay,
yes.
gotcha. Okay, okay. Well, s- so that makes sense. You're helping screen and find these people. So how is the actual like development of this from a business gone? Like where's the stage of this? Like who are you seeing traction with? Like tell me about your customers and success of this.
Sure. Yeah. We started off outreaching and cold DMing thousands of founders, thousands of people. We got few of our early adopters, a few startups that used it, but it broke. I'll be honest. They gave us a lot of feedback. We love to iterate over it. We love to kind of have the feedback, talk to users more, talk to founders more as to what is missing, and came up to a production level system. After that, we've been helping around 10 to 11 startups. Uh, a few of them are YC, few of them have raised around $4 to $5 million in their pre-seed and seed funding. Some of them are big names. There's some of the big founders who exited the last startup at around $45 million, and they're entering into a new venture. So we're also helping them. So it has been a good success. We also have around 1,000 developers all around the world who are super cracked because we have all the data, who have worked previously in corporates or have strong GitHubs, have built out diffusion models, have built out XYZ stuff that they're coming up in AI. Actually, they're not even come up yet. You know, so the developers, our database, the startups, everyone is using, and yeah, there some of them are actually getting hired. So
Okay.
that's news.
So have you figured out how you charge for this and monetize it? Have you figured out the business
Yeah,
model?
yeah. So
What do
at
you charge for this? How does it work?
Sure. So at least for right now, how the business model works is if you hire someone from us, there's a flat fee, right? Kind
Okay.
of like a referral fee, how most of the startups do give out. That's the business model. We're soon shifting into something that's our vision where sourcing, outreaching, interview, coding assessment, everything is going to happen automatically. So the founder
Okay.
doesn't do anything. That's
Okay.
our goal and that's our vision. Of course, with GitHub and public building and whatnot that we're doing, that because that's our philosophy. If you see our website, we also say resumes lie and GitHub doesn't. Uh, but uh, that's currently the business model. And with as close as we're getting to a vision, it's slowly going to change into a credit or usage based kind of platform for founders and startups. So they can
Okay.
analyze few profiles uh, for free, and the rest I will be charged as usage. So
But you want to focus specifically on hiring those sort of founding engineers, not just engineers in general, or do you want to expand this to all engineers?
currently, how I see it, that will be fully focused on startups and founding engineers or early members. And slowly, as we are able to figure out as well, we'll be moving into mid-sized companies and engineers and SDEs and software developers. Uh, but at least for right now, because we have personally seen the problem as founders, because even my co-founder, he has built 3 startups before. I've built 2 startups before. We also wanted to hire founding engineers. It's a problem that we personally face and we know what to do about it. So we would be focusing entirely on startups and yeah, early companies.
You mentioned to me before we were recording you were going through the typical startup founder struggles. Do you want to share any of that with us? Like what are those struggles you're fighting with?
Definitely. So I mean, you when you find a founding engineer for yourself or for your startup, you want to see someone who is kind of like your brother, who is like a replica of you, right? Who knows exactly what you've been doing, and if you give him everything, he will be able to handle, right? So I have tried whatnot, man. I have done a lot of posts on LinkedIn. I have searched through my network. I've searched through my Twitter. I have used the other platforms to find and source engineers, but I still couldn't find that one guy who knows the exact tech stack I know, who knows that if I hire him tomorrow, day after tomorrow, he's going to build out this feature real quick. That confidence, that trust, that credibility, and that technology that he's acquainted with, or he has built something, or there is some kind of proof that he can take over some of my stuff, was a havoc for me. I still wasn't able to hire at that time. So did my co-founder as well. He was dealing with the same stuff. We were actually discussing a lot of times that, hey man, did you find anyone, or do you know anyone who's a good fit for me? Just send it over to me, or something like that. Uh, but yeah, that was the struggle. Like, resumes were filled with fancy words that they've increased 30% efficiency, and I'm like, where did you increase that? There's a proof. Do you know a proof that you have actually increased in efficiency in a platform? And I've interviewed few guys, and they're like, they go all quiet because like they don't know a lot about it. I was like, how did you increase the efficiency? And they're like, yeah, I did XYZ. I added this feature. I added that. I'm like, uh, is anyone using it? They're like, no, but I did it for the company. I'm like, I need someone who is building for users and
Yeah.
is building the same kind of efficiency, but for users and not for a corporate platform that works internally for a corporate
Yeah.
company. So that's the struggle. And that's something that was very much lacking.
Okay. Well, I wrote a book about that called Product Driven. I'll happy to send you a copy. Anybody's listening today hasn't read my best-selling book, check out Product Driven. It's now on Audible. So if you guys want to listen to the audiobook, go to productdriven.com and learn more about the book. Well, Krishna, thank you so much for being on the show today. For people who want to learn more about Git Hired, it's at githired.tech. How else can people follow you and learn from you, Krishna?
We have a Twitter page called Git Hired now. You can always reach out to me on my LinkedIn. It's Krishna Oza. You'll be able to find me. I'm looking very serious in my profile picture. That's me. Anyway, yeah, just feel free to shoot me a DM. You can go on the website, actually book a call. Straight with the founders. You'll be talking with me whenever your calendar fits out. I'm open from 4 a.m. in the morning till 4 a.m. in the night, whatever works. Uh, Everything is open, and yeah, you can just book a call and maybe shoot a DM or just email me. I'm open to always.
All right. Well, Krishna, thank you so much for being on the show today.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Matt. It was really fun.
Thank you.
Perfect.